I think I've matured to a stage where I know that even if I'm not able to, call my siblings frequently, which sometimes I struggle with doing because I'm thinking about other things other than calling my siblings. Even if I don't call them, the relationship will be the same.
Yeah. And not to take a hit at you in it, but I'm just saying, you're the youngest, so of course, regardless, you're always gonna have to support your siblings and the love of your siblings, regardless of whatever you do. If you don't call me and I'm calling you every day for 6 months, the day you pick up the phone, I might be like, yo, what's going on? But I'll still be like, how are you? I miss you, like, you're my, you know what I'm saying? Because you have the grace of being the younger sibling. What I will tell you though, is that although that is great now, the way your siblings will view you now versus the way they'll view you in a year's time, if you don't talk enough, will be very different. In the same way, the person you become may not be the person they see you as anymore because they haven't watched you grow.
Hey friends, this is your beautiful, ever smiling host, Lady Ola. I am so thrilled to have you join us back on SMOPPY'S World. If you're new here, you've come to the right place. Listen, always take the time to spread the love and encourage others to share this inspiring episode with them as well. Don't forget to connect with us on all our social media platforms. I'd appreciate it if you could leave a comment in that section. I love having conversation with you there. So I want to welcome you to a thrilling and heartfelt episode of our podcast today. I am ecstatic to have my family with me for a deep dive into a topic that resonates with so many: navigating core family separation. In the world where we're separated from our loved ones, we just don't know what to do. Our family has faced the challenges of separation, grappling with the pain, the loneliness, the anxiety, and the fear of losing the bonds we've built together. But through it all, we've found ways to keep our connections and communication flowing. So join us as we unveil our personal stories, illuminating an issue that touches every family at some point. We'll share our unique strategies for staying close, even when we are worlds apart. Get ready for an intimate journey with us. Welcome to SMOPPY'S World. Now I want to start by introducing the last baby. Let me start with the last baby, the baby of the family. Jeremiah, welcome to SMOPPY'S World.
Thank you for having me.
Now I will move to the one next before the last one. Yeah, me say.
No.
Everybody knows you as Gabriel. Welcome to SMOPPY'S World, Gabriel.
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate you.
Now to the first child in the family, Michelle Isaac.
Hi.
Welcome to SMOPPY'S World.
Thank you for having me.
It's a blessing having you guys today. Listen, I celebrate this guy. This guy that's about to come on is the father of them all. He's my boo, he's my lover, he's my friend, he's my teacher, he's my mentor. Should I go on? He's my husband. His name is Dr. Victor Olusegun Aigbogun.
Thanks.
Welcome back to SMOPPY'S World.
I'm glad to be here always.
You're not a visitor here, are you?
No. I love to be here.
Yeah, so welcome. Today is a special episode that we just want to come and share our stories with you. People talk about separation in families, whether through divorce or working, a family walking away from home, the father working outside in another country, children are left behind. So we have our own part that in this separation, and we're here. We're just talking about it last night, and we just thought, you know what? Let's put this in camera and let people see that the people that they actually see us as, because we are out there that people know us, but let them know who we are behind the camera. Yes, we are the face of the social media, but let people know who we are, so that we can encourage people that, listen, your family may be going through separation, but there's a way to keep that bond going. And if it happens, that doesn't mean that we have to break away from each other. And that we should be able to talk about how we felt and what happened, so that people can know that if we're broken, we can be healed together. And so who do I start with? Who's going to go first? Let me start with Michelle. Michelle, because you are the first one that first left home.
Okay.
When we went back in Saudi Arabia, you left home to go back to UK to start your university.
Yeah.
So how was that for you, leaving your family behind?
Right.
Even though you were born in UK, we moved from UK to Saudi
Yeah.
based on dad's job. But you going back by yourself,
Yeah.
having to be the only one in UK that you actually don't have any family there.
Yeah.
So how was that like for you? And what was your age when you left home to go to university? Can you remember?
I left in 2013
Okay.
and I'm 30 now, so I was, how old?
18.
18, so I was 18, so I'm not really good at maths, that's not really my thing, so I was 18, yeah, it was difficult. It was very difficult. I remember crying for a few weeks because I went from being around so many nationalities, people having this family orientated mindset to then go into the UK where everyone's just like by themselves, let me do my own thing, that kind of vibe. So it was hard to adjust from, oh, we're a family, let's do things together, and then you're just by yourself. So that was very difficult. And then obviously not having my family there made it a lot harder as well, because I love being at home. I remember even when I had to go, I didn't want to go. I was looking at, I think it was Middlesbrough University that had a campus in Dubai or Sharjah or something. Like, I wanted to be so close to Saudi Arabia, but then speaking to Dad, it was like, the UK will give you better options, that kind of vibe. So that's why I went. But it was hard. It was very difficult, especially if you love your family and you have a good relationship with your siblings and your brothers, which I do. I wasn't quick to run away from home. Like, left to me, I would have still stayed in your house a couple more years. Why are you laughing, Dad? You would have kicked me out?
Because I wasn't sure if I was going to keep you.
So left to me, I would have still stayed. But I know it was the time for me to move on and start to walk my own path. But it was hard, and I think constantly FaceTiming you guys and just being on the phone and whatnot helped, and just knowing that, okay, I started uni in September, but I was going to come back in December for Christmas. I was just counting down the days for when I would come back in December and be with my family again. Yeah, it wasn't the easiest, but I got through it. Yeah,
we're going to talk about how you go through it after. I went back to England with you.
Yes.
To settle you down, to make sure that everything was okay in the uni.
Yeah.
On my way back to Saudi, I cried from the airport till I got to Saudi. Because, it was the two of us that were just the females.
The females, yeah.
So I'm coming back and, even when I got home, your presence was gone. Yeah. And it took me weeks to really get over it. Like, seriously, I've got to let go because she has to go to university. She can't be here. So it was also difficult, but I couldn't show it because I have other children depending on me. Yes. And also I have to serve my husband as well, take care of everybody. So I had to keep that in.
Right.
The pain in, and say, okay, I have to keep moving. Yeah. So I just to let you know that it wasn't only you that was difficult, but
okay.
I also went through that.
Right.
So now let me move to Jerry. Jeremiah, you have been used to having all your siblings around. You grew up with them. That was your mother when you were growing up, because she took you like she was taking care of you. He was the big brother for you. You grew up together, and you've always been around your siblings. Now that Yemisi had to leave and go to uni in UK, and you've been left alone. Do you have any siblings now? You have aged parents. We're not old, but I had you when I was 42. So, having to live with us and having to manage, everything in Dubai here, not having your siblings around you. How much has it affected you psychologically?
when I used to live with all my siblings, you know, I had this sense of comfort because I was surrounded by people quite frequently, and it was people I could talk to at home. And if I needed help, then I could go to one of my siblings and ask for help. Or even if I just wanted to do something with someone, then, you know, my siblings would be around. But then there was kind of a shift when they left, and it took away that feeling of security. So it was like my home had been split in half because, you know, half the people were gone and it was just my parents. And sometimes you guys are tired because, you know, you guys working all day or you're busy, and, you know, it kind of makes me want to isolate myself instead of, you know, socializing with you guys because I don't have anyone to talk to at home. And I feel like on some people that can really impact them. So I tried my best not to let that change me as much as possible. So I tried to keep in touch with my siblings so that I don't, you know, shift away from them.
Your dad and I were thinking about your sanity, and, you know, in that moment, and we just said, okay, let's give it a try and see if we can go to boarding school. But that didn't work well, did it?
No, I didn't.
That didn't work well. Well, just talk to us a little bit about that, just for 1 minute. What was that experience about, going to boarding school without your parents in another country? That you don't have no parents, you don't have no siblings. You've got to be told what to do, when to do, and how to do. How was that?
It was really overbearing for me because not only was I being introduced to new people, but I wasn't able to be comforted by my siblings or my parents in person because I was so far away from them. And I feel like the Nigerian experience, you know, I'm not culturally there. I don't relate to them culturally, so it was kind of difficult for me to adjust to being in Nigeria, especially with their difficult standards. So it was kind of took a toll on my mental health a little bit. It made me a little bit more timid because people there are very
aggressive.
Yeah, aggressive, outgoing, and it kind of changed my perspective on how I see people and how I see myself. So it was a good and bad experience.
Okay. Should I leave that to the last? Okay. Everybody seems to be quiet. What's going on here?
You guys definitely ain't quiet. So.
My G,
Wow.
the model of the family, right?
What's up?
Gabriel.
Yeah.
There was an incident when I left Egypt to go and start a church in Nigeria.
Yeah.
What was that experience like for you? Because I left you behind.
Yeah.
You and Jeremiah with Dad.
I mean, yeah, that's true. It depends on the angle you take, to be honest. I feel like it's a lot of stuff going on in that one situation. For one, like, obviously when a mother is part of a household, like, you can feel a certain, like, there's a certain warmth that comes with, like, motherly attention or motherly love and stuff that you can't really recreate in a way. And I feel like when you're growing up and you don't have, not say you don't have a mother, but you don't have that, like, motherly figure all the time, it can have an impact, like, obviously long term. And you gotta kind of either find it or you gotta find a way to get by without it. So even at that age, like, having to be that, for example, for my younger brother, where it's like he's growing up and he's like
because
getting older.
he was 8 years old.
Yeah, so he probably didn't feel it as much, rather than just, I don't see my mom as much as I see, like, my dad, for example. So that probably is his perspective at that age, because he didn't really know any better.
Okay.
But it's different
But
when
for
you're.
you?
It's different. Like, the way you view people is different. The things that you do, like, may change. Like, you may have experiences that you wouldn't have had if, let's say, you had, like, that support group of, like a strong female figure, like, constantly being, or especially in, like, at that age, because I was like, what, 12, 13? So that's the teenage age when you start to kind of develop mentally, and, like, you become, or start to realize who you want to be or who you are as well. And I feel like when you have that in your teenage years, it can have some like effects long term. But mostly it was just the fact that like I had to kind of step up more, look out for my brother more.
Quickly become an adult to be there for your brother.
Yeah, but I didn't like it never felt like a burden or felt like why me, or like it was kind of just like this is what we have. You make do with what you have and you do your best, and sometimes your best feels like it's not good enough, but you do it anyways, and you keep moving, and that's life. But it definitely aged me quicker, I think. And I think it will age a lot of people quickly if they're not careful. My only thing is to people that experience that is being careful that you don't try and go back and relive being young or being a teenager, because you can't go back. Once those years are gone, those years are gone. Yeah. So you can't get to 22 or 20 or 19 or whatever, where you now have freedom and think, oh, I'm going to live recklessly because I'm still young, you know, I didn't get to enjoyment. No, the consequences are different now. The stakes are different now. It's a different ballgame. But mostly it's just growing up quickly. I think it helps in some aspects. You start to understand how to manage your time, manage money, manage like juggling other things. I got school in the morning. I got to wake up early. I got to wake him up early too. Obviously someone will help us cook in the morning. You know, we have house help and stuff, but I still gotta get to school, make sure he gets to his class, then make sure I get to my class. Then I still gotta make sure he gets either home or gets to the car so that I can go to practice for whatever sport I'm playing. Then get home, do my homework, make sure he does his homework. If he does his homework, scold him before our dad gets home, so our dad don't scold him.
And these are the things that your mom used to do when she was there.
And obviously I think also you start to like appreciate having a mother more. I think a lot of us take for granted like our mothers or how much they do, because it's like, well, how hard can it be? Like you just make, but it's tough, and you're not even doing half the job. You're doing like 20%. So I think definitely had a big impact.
So what can you tell us about the difference between that experience and the one that you having to live here and go to uni in UK?
I think it's a different experience because, for one, me living alone, everything is on me now. So not everything, obviously. Like
you fend for yourself.
I fend for myself mostly. Like I still have to wake up, do my own laundry, do my own, which is normal, by the way. Do my own laundry. Do
which is part of
life. But do my own laundry, do my own cooking, like organize myself, try and like budget my own money, like all these other things. So everything I do is on me now. It's less like I have to necessarily fend for me and my younger brother at the same time. But in saying that, although it's you lose that responsibility, losing the responsibility also comes with a form of like, I don't want to say survivor's guilt, but almost survivor's guilt. Like it's almost like people that have been in like situations where they have to leave people behind. Not that they wanted to, but they have no choice.
Yes.
You then almost feel a sense of guilt, like I've had to go and live a certain life now, and I've left my younger brother behind, for example. Not like he's in a bad situation, but it's physically like I'm going to do the things I want to do, but he's in a situation where it's probably not ideal for him because his siblings aren't around. So I think although the battle is still similar, the content of the battle is different because it's just you rather than you and taking care of someone else.
On you.
But also I think it's also a bit more lonely because it's like, at least when we were like 15, I was 15, 16, 14, and he's like 8, 9, 10, we're going through life together.
Right.
So although I can't be like, can I just hold my younger brother? Like, can you hold me? Like, obviously I'm the big brother.
But the fact that somebody is there that you can actually
speak up to, like, still talk to and still like mingle with and like you guys can relate on stuff. And he started getting to an age where we can now talk about things. Like you miss that when you have to leave home. So I think it's very different, but I think the impact is almost identical.
It's almost identical. It's a tough one having to live separately as a family, especially when you have built the bond, with your family like that, and having to find yourself in a different country where you just have to do what you have to do. And that this is one of the reasons why a lot of young people just go wild and miss their ways because their families are not there, especially the parents are not there. Nobody's looking out for them anymore. They just mix with different wrong crowd, and then the world then tag them as bad, but it's the situation that puts them there. It's whether we believe it or not, the power of family. I don't think anyone can put money on it. Especially if you have family that connect the way we do. I don't care how much money people have, you cannot put money on it. And that's why when we value each other, we value the time we spend together, we respect each other. This is what happened, so that when we are now separated, it creates some kind of pain. But we know that it's not going to be forever. At least we're gonna talk about how we kept it going, even though we live in different worlds. And how, Dr. Vic, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm good. It's exciting to hear this.
Being the father of all of us, and you get to send all of them to school. They come back on holiday, and the world expects the father, the head of the home, to be strong, not being able to show any feelings, whether they're missing their children or act in a way that your children will feel like, oh, my dad is missing me, or what. I want to ask, when because you also have your own part of separation in this family thing, so that everybody would know that we all have our own share in this. When we left Saudi and moved back to UK, a job was given to you in Egypt that you have to go and resume. I remember that you were in Egypt by yourself for 2 years. And I still remember there was a summer that we went to Egypt. And that summer, you were so emotional about it that you wanted us, even though we came for summer, we wanted us to stay. To the point that you went to go and pay school fees for this too, in the American school, because you were missing your family. What was that like for you? Because you were separated from your family. You go to work, you come back, and we used to have this huge house back in Egypt. Like, you come into that house, it's so big, and you get to be the only one in that house. How was that for you?
I never thought you were going to go to that one. Seriously.
I got you there.
Yeah, you got him. Yeah, you got him.
Sorry, bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay, baby.
That was not the one I can really recount the agony. It was difficult for sure. And it was one good moment of life that I know that I love my family. There are some things you take for granted, and you don't know the impact. But I didn't know you were going to do this. Yeah, that one was. It was a tough separation. I have my kids with me. They were young and they were starting to grow up, and I have to leave them in the UK and be by myself. And my wife was not there. My children were not there. But possibly this is one of the moments you get to know what I went through emotionally, but it was tough. There is no doubt that every father, true fathers, wants to be as close as much to their family. So it was a difficult one, but we managed it. I managed myself because I know it was temporary. I know it was going to change. And I finally knew that God just wanted me to continue that way, because every effort that I made to make sure that that doesn't happen didn't work out. So I just know I have to face it. And that was it. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you for always taking the shot for us.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It didn't expect me to go to this particular one. But last night my mind just went there and said, because no matter what we do, as the man of the house, especially if you're raised in Africa, you were trained not to break. African men were trained not to show emotion, and they're not allowed to say how they feel, and there's a lot that they carry. There's a lot, and sometimes we overlooked the strength that they have. We overlook them and we undervalue. Is that a word?
Undervalue,
You undervalue?
Yeah, undervalue.
Undervalue them. But deep down, and that's why sometimes fathers, when we see fathers, the way they communicate their emotions is because they don't know how to. And that just got to me last night when that dropped in my spirit and said, he has never spoken about that part of our lives, being alone. I mean, I know what I dealt with, having to stay with the kids, but I have the children. Yeah. They kept me going, but he was alone. And I just knew that sometimes when we talk on the phone, the way it sounds, I know that something, and when we went for that summer, I knew that something, he was hitting the bottom, of his motion. And I just thought today, let me just, because it may never talk about it.
Right.
And for him to talk about it today, so that people would know that, listen, men are dealing with the law. Yeah. They are dealing with the law, especially fathers of the house. They're dealing with the law. If they don't, I don't think there's anyone that doesn't love their children. It's just the way they communicate the love to their children. And for us to ignore the fact that they are also human and they're doing what they can do. So we must always celebrate them.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how, whether it's you're taken away from your family because of your job or divorce, whatever it is. One thing that is for sure is every fathers, I'm talking about good fathers, will do whatever it takes to make sure that they take care of their sons and their daughters. So, and I want us to talk about communication, because we can be living in different countries. What knitted us together, what keep us together is the communication. We've never stopped communicating. So it's a key. For somebody may be watching, communication is the key to keep your family together. Because if you have built that bond, you need to keep that bond. And one way that you can keep that bond is communication. Thank God for internet and for gadgets and all that, the resources that has been, that has been put together these days. In our age, we didn't have all this. So the only way we could communicate then is writing letters. Imagine having to write letters. The letter may take 3 months before it comes back to you. Am I right? Am I right, babe?
Yeah, absolutely.
So but we have technology today that allows us to keep in touch with our families. And so which way have we been communicating with each other? How did we get here so that we can help somebody? How did we keep the communication going?
I'd probably say accountability, to be honest.
Accountability.
I think that's a form of, it's maybe not an exact direct form of communication, but I think that's probably the most clear method for me.
Okay.
Anyways, that's just based on the way I am. But it's I think sometimes when you leave home, or people leave home, or families separated, people will tackle it in different ways. They can either become very consumed by whatever they're doing, where they are, or they can be sometimes overly not overly associated with their family, but they don't know how to live and let their family just be their family. It's like a constant thing of I need my mum, I need my dad, I need my sister. And of course you need family 100%, but you also need to know when it's time to be independent, when it's time to do your own thing, when it's time to like try and progress yourself forward and rely on yourself enough. Obviously not 100%, but enough. But I think for me it was more like trying to get used to not doing that too much and then talking to my family. Not that that's like uncommon, but like actually reaching out to my family. Like I think when I was younger, it's a bit better now, but you can ask Michelle and she'll tell you that I wouldn't text her. I wouldn't call her. And it's not that I don't love my sister. Like I love my sister. Like I would get the shirt off my back for my sister.
But you think that you calling her or texting her makes you to miss her more?
Sometimes,
or makes you to feel not to move on in life?
I think it was more a thing of I always feel extremely like emotional having to then do it again. For example, like let's say I call her today. This is probably when I was in first year, maybe I'll call her today. Maybe she didn't notice, but then the rest of the week I would call her like every other day, if not every day. And then they get to the end of the week and maybe it happened the next week and then I would stop calling her. And it was because I was feeling like the level of homesick I was getting, or me feeling like I miss my family and my siblings, like it was too much. So I was just like, I just need to keep them on a somewhat consistent basis so I can actually live.
Okay.
And then I'll continue from there. But also like, you have to understand, like people don't just know that without you telling them. Like if you're probably just hearing this for the first time now, even though that was happening years ago, but it's because you don't know how to communicate that to people. But if you tell them, I feel really homesick when I talk to you guys, I need some time to try and figure things out for myself, they understand that the reason that you're not talking to them is because you want to kind of be more independent. It's not because you don't want to talk to them, or you don't love them, or you don't care about them, or you don't think about them. It's more like a thing of, you know, being told like, okay, what's the problem? Can we talk about it? And speaking about it. So being called accountable, and someone else tell you like, yo, what's the problem? Do you know if something's going on, or you can talk to me, you can tell me. And also like being told like, okay, communication is important. Like don't go away for a month and not say anything. Don't go away for 2 months and not say anything. Don't now come home and that's when I get to hear your voice or something. That's crazy, you know? I think it's being able to be comfortable enough with each other to have the like difficult conversations, to be like, okay, like, I'm not happy with the way your communication is. Not necessarily don't stop it, I don't like it, but how can we change it? How can we make it better? I'm not a big texter. I don't like texting. Even with you and Dad, I'm sorry, I know I'll respond for like a day, 2 days, like, because it's just I'll just open my WhatsApp or whatever and it's just overwhelming, like. But if you called me, I would always pick up. It's very rare I don't pick up the phone, but that's the thing I have to explain to somebody and be like, okay, I'm better at calling, just call me. Or I'm better at texting, just text me. Like ways of understanding what works for people, and then trying to adapt and kind of compromise on that communication as well. But definitely being told when you need to be better, and accepting it and not taking it personal.
Right. Okay. So Michelle has a different way of communication.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we kept the communication by communicating. And what do I mean by that? Like when I left, I felt like, Dad don't love me as much, even though I know Dad loves me. And there was a time I messaged him like, Dad, have you got another daughter? Like, have you disowned me? Like, what's going on? And he'd be like, no, why are you asking? I'd be like, because I don't hear from you anymore. And then he'll be like, no, but you're always on my mind. And sometimes when you're on my mind, I already think that I've messaged you or checked on you. And I'd be like, oh, but you didn't. And then from there, I think he became more aware and started communicating, but he could only know how to communicate because of how I communicated.
Right.
Same thing with Yemsi, like how he's saying, there'll be the time I'll be like, bro, we're in the same country. I know we're in different cities, but I don't hear from you. Like, what's going on? Are you okay? And it's a bit overwhelming when you're always, or you feel like the communication is one way.
Yeah.
Especially with your family that you're very close with. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Whereas I love calling and FaceTiming to the point sometimes when I call you guys, I laugh because I'm thinking, they're probably thinking, why is Michelle calling again? Like, what does Michelle want? But that's just my way of making sure that we have that communication, just making sure that we're okay, even if the conversation is for 30 seconds, it's fine. Do you understand? Or if the conversation is for 30 minutes, it's fine. But it's just the message, the calling, just knowing what people prefer. MC prefers calling, because I message him, don't answer, but I call him, he answers. So I'm like, okay, cool, that's his way of communicating. I prefer calling than messaging, but Dad, I think, prefers messaging. But then if you get him, he can be on the phone, because if you get him on the phone, you can have a good conversation with Dad on the phone. Whereas I think you also prefer the calling as well, and Jeremiah is the calling as well. So I just think we kept the communication by communicating and knowing what form of communication works for everybody. And I think that's what it was. But that's just my opinion.
Right. So for me, I think two things are critical for you guys to know. One is, I have a principle regarding kids leaving home to school or to work. It has been my desire to be sure that my kids, when they leave home, they can be independent. And that they can grow into their own system and grow into their own world. That is something that I've always believed. And I was one of the kids who, when I left home, as much as I love my parents, love my father, and love my mother, the only time I get to see them is when I go. There's no testing,
there's no, you don't have all this luxury there.
But we don't have that. but yet, when I have holidays, I prefer to go with my friends and not come home than to go home, because it was a different world for me the moment I left home. So it's always my intention that when you guys leave home, not that I don't love you, not that I just want you to know you've left home and you are becoming something different, and a man or a woman, or you are becoming independent, that I don't lock you down into the emotion of you are still home as a result of my constant checking or calling. I know you are big enough to call and say, I need something. To tell me when you need it, when and how you need it. I'm responsible to make that happen, irrespective of how long you've left home or your age.
You can say that irrespective of your age.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's why other parts that we need to know. And normally I just don't call too much to any of you. I don't test or anything like that. MC does once in a while, but it's not because I don't want to communicate. It's just because I know you are gradually building or developing into your own world, and I don't want to continue to pull you back in any way. But that's a man thing. Specifically, that's a Shegun thing. Okay.
But
I think that's a Shegun thing.
But I just want to say that you can.
Yes. Okay.
Because I personally, I love it. Like I think because I just love my family, so I understand what you're saying. But you can call.
It's a permission that I get now.
But
I got
you had that permission years ago.
years ago, right?
It's a sound on SMOPPY'S, so you guys want to be fixing your issue, not here.
And I think it allows families to understand.
Yes, that's why we're doing this.
That sometimes, if you have this kind of challenge, you should confront it. You should call your dad and then say, Dad, I'll come. I don't hear from you. I mean, you don't call me. I mean, just because you are sending me money doesn't mean you don't have to call me.
No, exactly.
Right? And that kind of and then you know. Then your dad may have that kind of because in my head, I prepare myself for this. Okay, now you're going to go to college. You're going to go. When you left, it was very difficult for me. But when he left, it wasn't that difficult. because I already adjusted my mind to say he's going to be living, he's going to go to school, he's a guy, he's a man, he's going to become a man, he's going to start to do his own thing. And like I said to him, look, the only reason I'm here is for me to prepare the way for you.
Right.
Right? When you stumble into things, call me. And I'll tell you how to navigate it.
Yeah.
But navigate it first. And if you get lost, call me. I'll show you the way.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
Well, that's where mother is different. Probably I feel that I should be on everybody's case, checking everybody and all that. It's family is a very, very complicated matter that if we don't know how to navigate life, it can crush us.
Yeah.
And it can separate us. It can destroy what we have built together. Jeremiah, what's communication for you? Because sometimes I call you from downstairs and upstairs. Jeremiah, are you there? Sometimes I don't even know whether you still live in my house or you're somewhere else. What's communication, especially with your siblings?
Yeah.
Forget about your dad and your mom now. How have you keep the bonds going?
I think I've matured to a stage where I know that even if I'm not able to, call my siblings frequently, which sometimes I struggle with doing because I'm thinking about other things other than calling my siblings. I think I've got to the point where even if I don't call them, the relationship will be the same. So the bond and the connection will be the same with my siblings because over the years that I did live with them, I built something strong that doesn't, always require every day I'm calling you and telling you how I am, asking how you are. And I'm grateful that I built that before because I feel like now I'm not responsible enough to call them frequently. And I feel like if I didn't build that before, then it would have been hard to cope without having my siblings even more. It would have been much harder. So I think even though I don't call them, I'm still able to maintain the relationship, and they call me as well. So I'm good for that.
Can I say something?
Yeah, say something because we're rounding up. Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
No. Go on.
Sorry,
I was
sorry.
going to ask
yeah.
everybody to say their last.
No, it's okay. Just back to what he was saying about him growing up with his siblings and then obviously cultivating a relationship. So it's like even when everyone's away, maybe you don't talk as much, but you still feel the closeness because it's like, we're just family anyways.
Yeah.
I think it's a unique experience for you
Yes.
because you're the younger sibling.
Yeah.
And not to take a hit at you in it, but I'm just saying,
Yeah,
you're the youngest, so of course, regardless, you always gonna have the support of your siblings and the love of your siblings, regardless of whatever you do. If you don't call me and I'm calling you every day for 6 months, the day you pick up the phone, I might be like, yo, what's going on? But I'll still be like, how are you? I miss you, like, you're my, you know what I'm saying? Because you have the grace of being the younger sibling. What I will tell you though, is that although that is great now, the way your siblings will view you now versus the way they'll view you in a year's time, if you don't talk enough, will be very different.
Yeah.
And in the same way, because I went through the same situation, I feel, in the same way, the person you become may not be the person they see you as anymore because they haven't watched you grow.
Yeah.
So you might get to, let's say, you're 15 now. You might then get to 17, but you haven't talked to us for, let's say, 6 months. Then talked to us once, then 6 months again.
Yeah.
And now it's been about a year, then goes on to 2 years. The person we saw you as at 15, we're still seeing you as up until you're 17.
Yeah.
Subconsciously, we are because that's what we remember. That's the same way your relatives that have seen you when you were 10, now you're 15, they're treating you like you're 7. Not because they don't know, but because that's the memory they have of you from a long time ago. So as much as it's important that you are the younger siblings and everyone's going to look after you, just remember for your own sake that you're going to become a man one day. You're going to become 18, an adult, and people are going to have to respect you as an adult. And in order to do that, sometimes to get the respect, you have to continue to show people who you are, so that they're reminded that, okay, he's not a kid anymore, he's not a baby anymore, he's becoming a man, he's becoming an adult, he's growing into a level of maturity, and so that they're constantly reminded of that, and they know that way it's not also an issue where, I had a similar problem with, I love you guys, innit? But I had some problems with all of you actually, where I was like, I'm like, okay, I'm 18, I'm 19, guys, like, I feel like I've garnered some level of maturity now.
but
you
they,
know.
they can't see
But
you
they can't
past
see that because it's like, this is my baby brother. Like,
yeah,
put your head
you know,
down.
of course, you know what I'm saying? But it's like obviously it's still out of love, but it's a thing of this is still my baby brother. Like it's like, but it's like he's not though.
Yeah.
He's just your brother now.
Yeah.
He's just your younger brother now. It's not your little brother. It's just your younger brother now. Like he's becoming older. He's becoming more mature.
Yeah.
I feel like because we're closer in age, I understand it a little bit more. Just because we were the last ones, like we're kind of together.
You're not close
so,
in age. You're 6 years
so-
apart.
6 years apart, but obviously we grew up together for like a long time. We're closer in age. Sorry.
Basically, just call
We're closer
me
in age.
more,
But anyways, my point is just
just call me
it's
Dad.
important that you show people who you are. That way they
Oh my
don't look at
goodness.
you as if you're a younger year than you actually are. So that's all I wanted to say. But that's all.
It's like this shouldn't end, but hey.
It has to end.
Oh, it has to end. But you know, the bottom line is family that stay together. What did you normally say? Family that stay together.
It starts with if they pray together,
If they pray together, they stay together.
then they can stay together.
So we don't pray together all every day because we are apart. But there's something that's kept us together. God first kept us together. He watches over us. And the bond, the relationship that we've built, is important. I want to speak to fathers who don't have relationship with their kids. Let 2025 be the year that you start to do that. Because you cannot turn the clock back. When you meet, there's a certain age in their lives where if you miss that age, you've missed everything. So this is for parents who feel that their children they're just children and they should remain children. They will grow up. And then they become adults. And then when they leave home, if you don't know how to manage that, it can leave you with pain that you may not be able to overcome. Dr. Vic, do you have anything to say for the last
No,
time?
I just pray that every family will experience love.
Yes.
And that love will keep them together. Circumstances, situation, life has a way of shaking the ground we stand on. But it's the family that we have that will hold ourselves and hold one another together. That's all I can say.
Thank you all for coming today.
Thank you
It's
for
a
having us.
blessing having you to do this show together. That's all we have for today. Thank you for joining us. I hope you find our conversation helpful and relatable. Remember, family ties can even endure the most challenging distances with love and creativity. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe and share it with a friend who may be navigating similar challenges. If you or someone you know is navigating family separation, we encourage you to seek support. Resources like counseling services or community groups can make a big difference. Together, we can support each other in this experience. Until next time, love yourself and each other. If you have not had someone say this to you, let me be the one to say, I love you, and I believe in you to make the best out of life. And God bless.